Hey y'all, welcome back to our very bookish channel, and welcome to my ARC review of One Shattered Crown by Rebecca Zanetti. This is the third book of the Grim Bargain series. It is coming out on July 28th, and I just really enjoy reading these series. These books are just books that I can eat up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a really great job of explaining what's going on in this book, but I'm going to try. The setting in this book is, I would call it urban fantasy, and that's not my favorite subgenre of fantasy by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, there have been a lot of books of urban fantasy theme that I just really haven't enjoyed, but it just works so well in these books. Best way that I can describe this book just generally is it's a spicy mafia romance mixed with Disney princess mixed with urban fantasy. That's the best way I can describe this book, and it works so well. Rebecca Zanetti makes it work so well. I just get sucked into these books, and I just want to do nothing but read and finish these books. And I love the world that these books are built in, and I'm not sure if this is the last book or not. We'll get to that in a second, but this could be the last book in the series, and I do think you need to read them in order. I think if you just picked up a book, you would understand what's going on in each book, but they go in chronological order, and to really understand the characters in the second and third book, you need to read the first book and the second book. I just think that you're going to get so much more out of it if you read them in order, so I wouldn't want to read these out of order. I would recommend reading them in order. Anyways, in this world, there are four major companies ran by four families, and these companies are social media companies, and each company is a little bit unique. They're not just like Facebook, X, TikTok. They're not just like the social media platforms that we know. They have other layers to them, like they can run on emotions and feelings and things like that. So it's a little bit different, and these servers for these companies are run off of gemstones. And these gemstones have power, but each person that in these families have affinity for certain gemstones, and they can charge the gemstones most effectively. So each person in these families is critical for charging the gemstones and running the servers for these social media companies. So that kind of explains the urban fantasy part and the mafia part, because each family is kind of like a mafia family. They're very cutthroat, they're very competitive. In these books, you do get a little enemies to lovers, because of course, a female from one family, is attracted to a male of another family. So there is some like enemies to lovers aspect in here. For the fairy tale part, each of the FMCs in each book follows a Disney princess theme. So for One Shattered Crown, you can kind of tell by the pumpkins that this is Cinderella. The FMC in this book's name is Ella, and she is a very, very, very good, probably the best computer hacker. And she is also the best friend of the two other FMCs in the two other books. So that's how they're all kind of connected. And of course, with the family ties as well. But the three FMCs in these three books are all like best friends. And in the beginning, I'm just going to give you a little snippet about the beginning. It's not a spoiler because it just takes place in the very beginning. But I just want to kind of give you an idea of how the Cinderella theme is looped through the book. In the beginning, Ella is at a event, and she's all dressed up, and she ends up having to run out of the event because she is trying to hack the servers of a competitor social media company. And so once she thinks she gets what she needs, she's trying to hurry up and get out of the event before she gets caught, and she leaves behind a shoe. So just like Cinderella, she leaves behind her high heel, and of course, there's a Prince Charming that she does dance with during this event, and that does find her shoe and try to track her down. Again, it is kind of enemies to lovers, but there's always an attraction there from the beginning. I find that when they say enemies to lovers, yeah, they're enemies because their families are fighting, but they also, from the very beginning, have an attraction. So in my mind, that's not true enemies to lovers, but there is that enemies to lovers layer thrown in there that's very fun. And of course, like, it's very fun and the tension gets tensioning because they're resisting each other throughout the whole thing. They're trying to deny their feelings. They're trying to think of all the excuses of why it won't work. And it's just so satisfying for me in those types of books because there's all this tension that gets built up, but then eventually their walls are going to come down and they're just going to give in. And I just think that that's like a really fun trope and a really fun aspect to these books. And all of them are like this. All 3 books, there's that same theme in all 3 of the books. I think I've given all 3 books in the series 5 stars on Goodreads. I'm gonna have to look, but I enjoyed all of these books. I enjoyed them all fairly equally too. There's not one book that stands out as my absolute favorite. And what I do when I finish a book is I will go on Goodreads or Amazon or Barnes & Noble or any of the bookish websites, and I will read reviews for the book because I want to know like what everyone else is thinking. Like, I know I love the books, but I kind of want to see, like, are other people liking the books? Are other people not liking the books? Like, what didn't they like about it? And why didn't I see that? Or why doesn't that bother me? I don't know. I just like to read the other reviews and kind of compare and contrast to my own feelings about the book. I don't let the other reviews shape my opinions of the book, though. Like, I read the whole book and I form my opinions and then I read others. But one person that read the book said it was a great ending to a trilogy. And although I can't imagine like where the next book would go, I don't know who the next book would follow, I really hope this is not the end of this series because I just want more. I want more Disney princess themes. I want more in this world. I want more of these like touch her and you die type males, and I just want more. I want more books in the series. I can't find anything that says this is a trilogy. Nothing on Rebecca Zanetti's website says anything about this being the conclusion to the series or this being the last book. Nothing in the name, the Grim Bargains series, says trilogy. Like, it's not the Grim Bargains trilogy. So although I can understand if the series ends here, it is a satisfying ending. Everything in all the books seem to be pretty well wrapped up, but I feel like there could be more books if Rebecca Zanetti wanted to pull some threads. And wanted to explore, maybe, like I said, there's 4 families, so she might want to try to get the POV of another family. I'm really hoping that happens because I've just had such a fun, good time in this series. This is not coming out till July, so if there is going to be another book, we're not going to know about it for a long time. We'll have to wait and see. But if y'all know, like, if you guys are privy to something that I haven't found out, please let me know what the plans are for this series and what you thought about these books, because I can't be the only one loving these books and talking about them. There has to be someone else out there that wants to read these and is willing to share some opinions about it. I'm going to conclude with Jen's outgoing line for our channel. Until next time.